Hey, so good to see your guys' faces once again. That must mean one thing and one thing only. It's Friday night and it's time for the MCT podcast. Well, I say Friday night, that's when we record. It obviously is Saturday at the earliest when you guys are watching this. We're here. It's episode 4, I believe. We're rolling on this train. Hop along. It's going to be a fun ride. We are, let's see, it's the first week of March, guys. We're rolling right into it, but I got to pause. I got to take a quick pause on all of the sports talk because we got some really, really big news this week. Every single smiling face that you see on your screen right now is smiling for one reason and one reason only. And that is because this week we all beat the bots and the scalpers and everything around, and we each got our own PS5s at retail price. So congrats to us. We get a round of applause for all three of us, guys. We did it. We held out. We got ours, and can't wait to start gaming on it. Unfortunately, I am going to have to wait the longest. Mine got through Walmart, and it's going to be delivered, so it's going to take till like April. Tade, I think you said yours is coming next week. Michael obviously already has his because he picked it up at work. Was really lucky and really fortunate there. So doesn't matter. Congrats to all of us. We have PS5. Can't wait to play next gen consoles. Michael, I know we're looking forward to MLB The Show 21. We could probably do a whole hour and a half. We could probably do a whole hour and a half segment on MLB The Show 21 just because. So we're super excited. So bear with us. We're gonna actually, I mean, that's just gonna add more energy to the show, at least on my part today. I can tell you that right now. So but we are ready to roll. Okay. Like, small congratulations to us aside. Let's do what we do. Let's recap our games of the week from last week, and I will unfortunately get us started. So I picked the Pacers and Sixers. They played on Monday night. For some reason, I got it into my head that the Pacers could not only hold serve with the Sixers right now, but beat them. I was wrong. I'll admit it. It's fine, and we're just going to move right on because I cannot stand the Sixers. So I really hate that that I was wrong. I predicted a 92-86 Pacers win, and let's just say I was wrong. It ended up being 130-114. Philly just beat the hell out of the lifeless Pacers right now, and that's all I'm going to say on it. Congrats to Philly on a win, I guess.
And if there's one thing that owning a PlayStation 5 has enlightened me to, is I don't know how to make picks at all, because I picked the Ohio State University to bounce back after terrible losses against the team up north and Sparty against Iowa. I thought, hey, if they're mad, they're going to come back. And no, we got beat 88-79. Now, granted, we're still making the dance. We're still going to be in the tournament. But that is 4 straight bad losses in a row, and that is not a good look for my tournament favorite in the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I mean, the guy I always said needed to have a big game. He had a decent game, but it just wasn't enough to keep the team over the hump. And sucks, but what all matters now is we're in March. We all know what that means. Next week is a big day for us, but hopefully they can win out and win the Big Ten tournament to get that forward momentum they desperately need.
I was going to win that Big Ten tournament. Oh wait, no, they suck. So that's not happening for them.
Not even going to be in the dance at all. They're not even going to be in the men's championship.
So sad for them when it's going to literally be at their home.
I know, right? They could, yeah. I mean, hey, they could run the table in the Big Ten tourney and get that automatic bid. That'd be kind of wild, but
I would eat this Pacers jersey.
Raw. Y'all saw it on video. He put that on video. So.
Yep, it's gonna be a special here when he has to eat
it. I'll clarify. If Indiana University men's basketball team runs the table in the Big Ten tournament, I will eat this Pacers jersey. I will eat it. All right?
Are you gonna boil it or cook it or like air fry it? What do you do?
I'd probably deep fry it.
Tade, we don't air fry everything, okay?
Air frying is great, everybody. Just remember that. That's an advertisement there. for air frying. Ninja.
For
Give me
air
some.
fryers in general.
Just in general.
Just
Okay. My time to explain my bad pick now. So,
oh God.
I picked Miami versus the Pelicans. I thought the Pelicans would win. Oh, whoopsie daisies. They didn't. This past week, it's been great for the Pelicans. They've been having some good chemistry. Lonzo Ball went off. He's had great 3-point percentage. Zion Williamson was out here been like, I love this man. He's great teammate. He obviously wants him to stay and not get traded. So you know what? Good week overall for the Pelicans, minus their 4 losses. Good for Miami, showcasing, their top contender in the East, with the East being dog water.
I was like,
but
gotta be 500
I'm 1-1
contender
now in my record.
So so we're keeping a running tally of our picks of the week, and bringing up the rear is Mr. Michael down there. He's 0-3. Woo! I am right behind him at 1-2, and Tade running the table. He's got a win, a loss, and we're calling it a tie because one of his picks was canceled before we could change it. So as a squad, as a the MCT, I guess we're 2-6-1. So take our picks for with a grain of salt, I guess, at this point. But we're gonna work on bouncing back. We're gonna bounce back. We'll clean that up. We'll get going. We're like the Pacers, right? We're a second half squad. We'll pick it up. We'll get it going. But as we all mentioned, we are into March. So that means a couple of things. One of those things being weather warms up. When the weather warms up, I shave my head. I don't need my hair anymore. I get cleaned up a little bit in the face and the head. So this is the first time you're seeing it. Here it is. I don't have a lot of hair, so I shave it anyway because I'm going bald. So always a good time. My dad sure seems to love that I'm losing my hair at 27, 28 years old. So thanks, Dad. But I'm
trying to save mine still.
Yeah, Michael's got no issues. Michael can probably donate all of that hair and grow it back in 2 weeks. So we're moving right along into March. So March is kind of a big month for obviously a lot of things. One of those things being NFL offseason talk really gets going. The new league year always starts in March. And then, free agency will officially kick off later this month, but that doesn't stop teams from obviously, making deals, making trades, as we've already seen. And obviously, speculations run wild this time of year. So it's a lot of fun to really get into. So we're going to do another NFL offseason update, if you will, because some big things have happened, and really none bigger the last week than JJ Watt, officially deciding to sign with a team, and it's official. He sourced it himself. Picture out there on Twitter. He said, "Source me," which I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty baller move. I loved it. Didn't let any. I mean, and there's stories out there, by the way, if you guys want to go kind of deep dive on what the lengths that he took to make sure that stuff didn't get leaked. One of the little tidbits that I picked up on was that he actually had a friend use their credit card and their address to purchase 5 T-shirts and workout gear of NFL teams that he was considering signing with, and so that way when he was ready to announce, he could announce it the way he announced it with the team in workout gear. But he had a friend of his use their credit card, their address, to buy 5 teams worth, so that there was no paper trail back to JJ Watt. But anyway, he ends up signing a 2-year, $31 million deal with $23 million of that deal guaranteed with the Cardinals out there in Arizona. Kind of coming in almost out of nowhere. Tade, got to give him some credit. He did list that as one of the options a couple weeks ago when we were talking about JJ Watt and where we thought he might end up. But man, as far as I was hearing, Arizona was not really talked about as a serious contender all that often. I just hadn't heard their names out there. But man, now you kind of add him on that defense, and oh my gosh, you kind of salivate. Unless you're an NFC West opponent, you kind of get excited for those Arizona Cardinals. They look really, really good. So the question now becomes, guys, does this move right here make the NFC West the toughest division in football? And who do we think is going to win that super, super tough division? I will kick us off with a very simple hell yes. This makes the move. This move makes the NFC West easily, by far, bar none, the toughest division in football this coming year. simply put, everybody in this division should realistically find a way to win at least 8 games and go 500 and above. I don't know if logistically that can actually happen because they're going to have to play each other each twice and, same opponents and all this good stuff. So that's going to be tricky. But you can't look at any of these 4 teams and tell me that on paper, on the roster, that you're not looking at like a 9 or 10 win squad, all of them. Obviously the Arizona is young, but they've got a lot of veterans there as well. They have a good mix on their roster. The roster is really shaping up and looking good, and they still are going to add some pieces. We'll talk about that in a second. LA obviously made a big move. They got Matthew Stafford. Man, if Jared Goff can lead that offense to the playoffs, there's no reason to believe that Stafford can't take them to even, to another level. Obviously, if in Seattle, if Russell Wilson stays healthy, they're a great team. If San Francisco can get healthy, the last time they were healthy, all they did was take the then defending Super Bowl champs, Kansas City, down to the wire in the Super Bowl. So, you're looking at 4 top teams, not only in the NFC, but in football. And you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm just going to hop aboard this hype train right now. That is the Arizona Cardinals, man. I'm going to take them to ride this wave and win this division because, man, they're just putting together such a good roster on both sides of the ball. If you look at their offense, they've got DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, he comes back, Christian Kirk, and Kyler Murray leading that offense in his 3rd year. He's really going to flourish. Cliff Kingsbury running that team has done such a great job of kind of opening up Kyler Murray and letting him do what he does best on a football field. So it's been really fun to watch. And then that's just on their offense. If you look at their defense, obviously JJ Watt, game record type of player, Hall of Famer, no doubt in anybody's mind. And you pair him up with Chandler Jones. That's a devastating linebacking, like outside linebacking, pass rushing. No quarterback wants to see that. We're Colts fans. That's like Freeney Mathis kind of level pairing. I'm not going to lie. That's huge. And then they still have, Budda Baker's out there. Patrick Peterson, if he comes back, that's a lockdown corner in this league. And then Isaiah Simmons coming into his 2nd year out of Clemson. He can play. He is a Tyrann Mathieu type player where he's going to play all over that defense. Anywhere they want to line him up, he's just going to line up and go and make plays. So, watch this defense swarm to the ball, though, now with J.J. Watt pressuring the quarterback. And, watch this defense fly around the field and swarm the ball, guys. They're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Do not sleep on them. Or, if you sleep on them, sleep on them at your own damn risk. Last thing I'll say is 2 things. 1, imagine if they decide to go after another wide receiver this offseason. Imagine if they go and poach yet another Houston Texan. If they go and get Will Fuller and give Kyler Murray a deep threat to go along with DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald if he comes back, Christian Kirk. That would be a lot of fun. Will Fuller, great team. And Arizona could have won. And as last fun fact, do you guys realize the Cardinals play the Texans this year? Tune into that game. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
That's going to be a lot of fun. However that game plays out, that game is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Circle your calendars for that one. All right, that's all I got. JJ Watt big.
And if that game's not in a primetime spot, it needs to be flexed into a primetime spot. There's no way you can have that game and the storylines that are there, especially if Deshaun Watson ends up playing for them this year. Somehow, if he gives, that's going to be entertaining. But I'm going to have to agree with Chris here that with that move, along with the Lions getting Matthew Stafford, and Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be healthy again, and that whole 49ers defense is going to be healthy. And then you still have Russell Wilson. It's all the Seahawks have, but it's still Russell Wilson. That division is absolutely loaded. But this is why I think Russell Wilson's concerns about his offensive line are getting more and more amplified. Look at the pass rushers in that division alone. Between J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. You have Aaron Donald. And you got a guy down in San Francisco by the name of Nick Bosa that you also have to worry about. Russell Wilson's already running for his life. And now for half the year, it's just going to be a constant thing. That's why I really do think that the biggest competitor to the Cardinals this year is probably going to be the Rams, just because Matthew Stafford adds a whole other dynamic that Jared Goff, while I do like Jared Goff, he just didn't really provide. Yeah. And that is the long ball to go up with Cooper Kupp And I feel like it's going to come down to those two guys. If the Niners come back healthy and they can stay healthy and Jimmy Garoppolo can stay out of porn stars' DMs, I think it'll all be all right for them. But I don't see anybody taking over those two teams. And I have to hop on the bandwagon right now. JJ Watt to Arizona is a game-changing type of move for them. And that's going to probably bring another couple players in, like Will Fuller, right, or anybody else really. That's a huge move to see what they're building down there, and they could probably attract somebody else down there too.
Imagine real quick before you get started, just imagine being Russell Wilson and taking this offseason and being like, hey guys, can you protect me more? Because I'm getting my ass handed to me year in and year out. And Seattle's like, oh, please don't leave us. We'll do what we can. And then Arizona's sitting back laughing like, we're just going to bring in JJ Watt. Screw everything. We're just going to bring in another pass rusher. Oh my God.
I think Russell Wilson's just sitting back going, Chicago ain't half bad.
At this point, he's probably like, man, you know what? Screw it.
This will make you happy, Chris. This move kind of reminds me of when the Packers went out and got the Secretary of Defense and Reggie White. It's that kind of level of a move that's going to have that kind of an impact, and that's going to be insane.
It's just so big. It's just so big. A pass rusher literally affects every level of the defense. So when you add a guy like that, it doesn't matter. It matters, but it doesn't really matter who you have behind him, because if he can execute the way we know he can execute and he needs to execute, everybody else benefits, because corners don't have to protect for nearly as long. Linebackers don't have to read guys nearly as long. Okay, Tade, go ahead.
Well, congrats on JJ Watt for securing the bag. He said he wants to win. He wants his money, obviously. He could have gone other places if he really wanted to win. They have a shot in Arizona, but you get a better shot with Green Bay. You get a better shot with Buffalo than Arizona. Arizona at this point is starting to become the Texans with how they fleeced the Texans the prior year to get DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, they are. They're the Western version of the Texans at this point. You trade for Deshaun Watson. Just kidding. Don't do that. That will kill your title chances because you have to pay the man. Kyle Murray is still on his rookie deal. You don't have to pay him yet.
That's not going to kill your title chances this year.
Not this year, unless they trade for him.
There is one key difference between this team and the last time these guys were together in Houston, and that is no Bill O'Brien. Cliff Kingsbury is a completely different dude.
That's true.
And
it's very true.
Like, Bill O'Brien destroyed the Texans from the inside out. I don't see that happening here. So even if it was to be a big old Houston reunion, I'm just really happy they're not in our division. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Bill O'Brien was a bad coach in his first couple years. He was definitely a horrible coach and GM combo.
Worst GM I've ever seen.
He's a horrible.
That's the thing. I think as a GM was really where he had issues. Coaching was probably fine, but he got
wins with TJ Yates.
My favorite tweet after they traded DeAndre Hopkins, my favorite tweet of the whole debacle was somebody tweeted, man, Bill O'Brien, the coach, has to be pissed at Bill O'Brien, the GM. And I lost it. So, you know what? I kind of alluded to it, but our next question is going to be, just simply put, how much of an impact do we think solely adding JJ Watt, how much of an impact does that move make on this Cardinals defense specifically? And holy hell. What impact does adding a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer do to any defense? A metric shit ton. Sorry. I couldn't come up with another word to do it. That's the answer. Just the simple fact that he's an absolute game wrecker. Even if you put that aside, now all of a sudden he's going to attract a lot of attention, and it's going to take attention and pressure away from other guys. As we mentioned, Chandler Jones is now going to get some more opportunities to go after the quarterback. Like I said, Isaiah Simmons, I'm going to see that name and to speak it into existence. You guys need to know who Isaiah Simmons is. He is an absolutely incredible type of defensive player coming out of Clemson. Because he can line up literally anywhere on a defense and just make plays. He is that revolutionary new modern, I'm telling you, like Honey Badger, like Tyrann Mathieu coming out of college. That's what he is. And so, I mean, and Arizona obviously is going to move him around and use him wherever they need to. And Budda Baker, Patrick Peterson, like I said, if he comes back, I mean, all of these guys are just going to flourish with a pass rusher like JJ Watt in there. Because again, a defense, you have to think of it in levels, and your front four is just so crucially important to win in the trenches. I mean, just look at what Tampa did to win the Super Bowl this year. That defense was amazing. Don't get me wrong, at all three levels, but they really won it up front by hassling and pressuring quarterbacks and making life hell for 4 quarters for an opposing quarterback. And that just makes everything so much easier for a defense. So, I mean, I'm telling you right now, book it. This Arizona defense is going to end the year as a top 10 defense. Telling you right now, top 10 defense out there in Arizona.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to agree with you on a lot of parts there, because adding JJ Watt, who is a game wrecker, you said it best, like you said it perfectly, an absolute monster. That's a guy you have to game plan around. And you also have to figure out like every other piece on that defense too, because at one point they could line up JJ at defensive tackle and move Isaiah Simmons down to defensive line. And yeah, you got to deal with all 3 of them. And imagine if they had a guy like Clowney too. Like this team could be terrifying really
Just
quickly.
Get anybody that ever played in Houston.
I mean, but Clowney.
Exactly. Bring him back. That's what I was saying. But not Clowney. Clowney sucks. He's garbage.
Whoa. Gosh. He had a bad year
last year.
I will admit. He had a bad year.
Exactly. You're not paying him $15 million, but he wants $15
No.
million.
Well, he's not going to get that. But if they get him on a budget, man,
he's going to be a big pickup.
Yeah.
But the big thing that I've been hearing a lot of is like, oh, well, it doesn't matter because he's only going to play 8 to 10 games, and he's only going to play like 11 games. Here's the thing. This team, no matter what, even if he doesn't start, even if it doesn't play, they are better with him in the room because he is a leader in the locker room. He is a coach on the field. He's a guy who's been there, done that with the right mentality. He's going to make everyone around him better, whether or not he's on the field or not. And he's going to tough it out through any injury he physically can to make sure he's out there anyway, especially with this team having a realistic shot at a playoff run. Now, I don't know if it's going to be very deep, but he has a realistic shot at a playoff run right now, which is something that Houston hasn't been able to do in a very long time.
I agree with all that. This definitely helps the Cardinals. They won 8 games last year. Am I right, Chris?
Yeah, I think they ended up 8-8.
Yeah,
Don't quote me on that. I hadn't checked.
Adding JJ Watt to this team with that defense they're going to have bumps them up at least 2 more wins, maybe 3 for next season. So it also depends on how many games JJ Watt plays. If he stays healthy, then he's going to have that major impact they're paying him for.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, game changer move for him to be on that defense. If they get some more pieces, obviously defense wins championships. I can see them going up against the Rams for that division. I think they'll probably either get second, get a wild card spot, get into the playoffs. Realistically, that's what I think is going to happen. I think the Rams are just too good in that division right now. Seahawks probably going to struggle now a little bit if they're not going to get Russell Wilson's guys. San Francisco is not going to do anything this year. I was going to say that right now. So it's Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals. Which of those 3 comes out on top? Rams. So adding JJ Watt was smart. He's going to help the defense immensely. But you got to add some more pieces on offense.
Yeah.
So we know here first that Tade is a Cardinal hater.
Do we think do we think the Cardinals are now, can we put them in that win now category, if we will, or in that win now kind of mindset? And if they are, do we see them, continuing to be aggressive? I mean, the offseason just got underway. And so I think, yeah, I mean, you don't make a move like going and like persuading a guy like JJ Watt to come to your team if you're not at least selling him on, we're trying to win it all. Like there's no way JJ would have taken the call from Jacksonville and been like, hey, we're thinking we're putting together a good team this year. He's gone. I mean, so I mean, right off the bat, obviously this team is good. They were good last year. They showed a lot of flashes, showed a lot of potential. And that's probably, I mean, that's what drew JJ to them. Part of it had to be that. I mean, obviously, you know, it helps having guys like DeAndre Hopkins there. Did you guys remember? Do you guys know that Jonathan Joseph is there too? So you already have another former Houston Texan there. I'm just saying, somebody he played with. And so, you know, it's interesting. I mean, of course, they're in win now mode. Again, you don't make a move like that. You don't spend money like that on a guy like that if you're just looking to get a good draft pick. I mean, JJ's not going to let that happen. And you've got, I mean, you have your quarterback of the future just coming into his third year. I mean, this is that prime window for quarterbacks. Like, you know, you're halfway through your rookie contract, if you will. You know, now's the time you start, like, hey, you kind of had your learning curve. Like, now we need you to, like, okay, you're ready to go. You need to win us games. It's time to show out. And I mean, Kyler has given us no reason to believe that he can't be that guy. He's shown me no reason that he wasn't worthy of the number one pick just 2 years ago. So, I mean, you got him, DeAndre Hopkins, like I said, Fitzgerald, if he comes back, and just all those pieces that I've mentioned multiple times now. And then, yeah, man, I'm telling you, they're going to be aggressive. I don't think the cap hit was very big this year for Watt. So I think they did that for a reason to, you know, leave money out there on the table to go get some other guys to go bring guys in. And that's kind of why also you get JJ Watt in the door first. And man, now everybody is going to at least put Arizona kind of on their radar. If you're a free agent and you just saw JJ Watt go to Arizona, why would that not pop into your mind and be like, well, what does JJ see there? And then maybe that's the place for me too, where maybe you weren't thinking about them beforehand. Like most of us weren't thinking about Arizona before JJ Watt went there. So yeah, they're going to make some more moves still. They're probably going to get Kyler another piece or two to work with, whether that's a wide receiver, you know, a deep threat kind of guy, or a tight end of some kind. Or, you know, they're going to help bolster that defense a little bit, go find some depth pieces. I mean, they're not done making moves. Absolutely not.
And I mean, JJ Watt made it pretty clear he wants to win, like Tade said earlier. So I feel like when he signed there, Arizona must have told him, like, yes, we're going to build. We want to get a championship roster team in the next 2 years at least. So if they're not going to get aggressive this year, they're going to get aggressive next. But I genuinely see them trying to focus on this year just purely because of one man, and that's Larry Fitzgerald. He's not getting any younger. I'm shocked he's coming back this season. I figured last season would be it, but
he hasn't made a decision yet. Arizona, I was reading up on it today to make sure that I had my stuff straight. Arizona, as the latest that I was reading, essentially, is Arizona said, hey, it's almost like what Indy has done with TY, where obviously he's a free agent and stuff, but they're like, hey, we're backing off. We're letting him make the decision. You know, we're giving him plenty of time. We're not going to push him one way or the other. We want what's best for him. If he wants to come back, obviously he's got a home here, basically. So it's all on Fitzgerald right now. I can't imagine if he was kind of on the fence. You'd like to think a move like JJ kind of pushes him to be like, I could probably do one more run, you know, so who knows? But yeah, right now let's just call it 50-50. He hasn't decided anything.
Okay. But I mean, he picked them over Green Bay, over Indy, over Cleveland, over Buffalo, and they had to have promised him, like, we're gonna, not only we're gonna give you the bag, we're gonna back at the Brinks truck, we're gonna pay you.
Yeah.
So, you know, protect your chickens. But I don't see how they're not gonna go, like, yeah, we gotta get aggressive, we gotta build, we gotta win now to make sure that this move seems worth it. But you also don't want to mortgage your future. So I do see them getting aggressive in free agency, depending on how the cap kind of levels out and what's going on there. And if not, they're going to try and make some moves with draft picks, but right before the draft.
If you pay a QB more than $28 million a year, you're hurting your team with all the other pieces you can get. Arizona still has, 2 more years of flexibility with cap space because the QB's on a rookie deal. 3 more years. There we go. 3 more years.
I think, because he's coming into his third year, and it's a 5-year deal, so 3, 4, and 5, I think.
There we go. 3 more years of some flexibility. Yeah. So it's a great position if JJ wants to be on a team that, you know what, their window is here, their window is now, that they're building around to try to get a team that can toss itself into the playoffs and contend. You know what? Even if he gets in the playoffs, that's a win for JJ Watt. Win for the Cardinals, yeah, sure. I mean, quick rebuild, but they want to go further. JJ Watts can be happy if he gets out of the wild card, for God's sakes. Because what's the deepest he's gone? Divisional? That's about it.
Divisional round 2 years ago, where they were up 24-0 in the first quarter on the Chiefs.
Yep.
And we know what happened then.
Yes, we do. Because that's your Chiefs won. They were down every time and go into the third quarter.
Yep.
Good for JJ Watt. He's on teams who get in the wild card.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun move. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on Arizona. Or if you do it at your own damn risk, because they're coming. They are not afraid. They know they're in the toughest division in football, and they're not blinking. They're just going to make themselves one of the toughest teams to beat this year. So they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'm telling you guys right now. We're going to talk about some cap hits. I think this is going to be an ongoing trend that you're going to see a lot of in the next couple of weeks. So buckle in. This is the first domino to fall. And I mean, there's going to be a lot of these guys because the salary cap and the cap hits this year because of COVID last year, hurting the league the way that did. I mean, you're going to see guys that you never would just be cut to save a few dollars. And the first one is one that, same thing. We didn't really think he was ever going to get cut. And you're looking at Kyle Van Noy, and we've got there's a lot going on with this Kyle Van Noy story right now, because basically it came out that the Dolphins are going to cut him. And then they essentially, in a sense, retracted that to a degree, just because they're now looking to find a trade partner, which is really interesting, because if you already put it out there that you're going to cut a guy, you kind of don't have any leverage to trade him. So we'll see what happens in the next few days. Hopefully by the next podcast, that saga will kind of be done. So, but we are talking about a guy who just signed a 4-year, $51 million deal last March, a year ago. He's a captain. He's fought through serious injuries to be out there for his guys. And at one point he had to stay overnight in a hospital after a game just because of how, beat up he was and everything. But he powered through, and he still put up some good numbers. I mean, he had 69 tackles, 6 sacks, 10 tackles for a loss last year in Miami for that 10-win team. And then, they go ahead and cut him, which, like I said, I don't think they cut him because he can't play. I think they just cut him because of the money. It's unfortunate that business, impacts sports sometimes in the way it does. So the question now with Kyle Van Noy, do we see him still as an impact player? Where do we think he's going to end up? In my mind, there's no doubt in my mind that he can still impact a defense. I mean, in a lot of different ways. No one really, if they're paying attention, you haven't forgotten what he did in New England. He helped win 2 Super Bowls for that franchise. Obviously there was a lot of other reasons New England won those Super Bowls, but he was a very, very key part, made a lot of plays. It was definitely one of the leaders on that defensive unit for New England for the years that he was there. When you look at where he's going to end up, how about this, guys? Why doesn't he come over to Indy? Why does he come over to Indy and replace Anthony Walker, pair him alongside Darius Leonard? I mean, here's the deal. If the money is right, Ballard's going to go get his guy. So I can almost guarantee you Ballard's keeping tabs on him at least and seeing what the dollar figure is, what it's going to cost to get a guy like that. Because if the deal's right, man, Ballard's going to pull the trigger. And that would be such a big veteran leader voice for that defense, who, as good as that defense is, I mean, yes, you have veteran leaders on that defense with Justin Houston and bringing in Xavier Rhodes last year, but there's question marks with both of those guys. And if you bring in a guy like Kyle Van Noy, that veteran leader voice for that defensive unit gets filled instantly. I know Darius Leonard is the outright vocal leader of that defense, but he's still young. And you know what? He's still learning his way in the league. Believe it or not, I know we've watched him for 3 years now, and he looks like he knows. He's running the league at this point, but he still needs a veteran leader as well to take care of a few things here and there. So he can absolutely be an impact player. I would love to see him come to Indy and be another Patriot turned good guy, if you will. And so that would be a lot of fun to bring him here. That's like I said, if the figure is right, man, if the deal is there, Ballard's going to pull the trigger. So that'd be a lot of fun.
So I really want to lead off with this because Kyle Van Noy is one of those tough guys, especially one of the ones that Darius Leonard was talking about, a guy who's going to commit himself to the team, betterment of the team and his teammates, make the right sacrifices. So how dare the Dolphins do this? How dare they have the audacity to cut this man? Now, I know it's business. You know, the move saves almost $10 million in cap space. We don't know what's going to happen to the cap. This could be a big trending thing coming up next week once we find out that information. But you need leaders on that defense. Yeah, you got other inside linebackers that are younger on that team that could make an impact for less money, but they don't have the same leadership qualities. You went out and got this man for a reason, and you were just like, like, let's just let him go. No, he's a huge impact player. He's going to make any team he decides to go to better. I am hoping it's Indianapolis, but more realistically, I'm also kind of thinking Green Bay could definitely use another guy on that defense that can help kind of stuff the run and play good coverage, especially after what happened in that NFC title game. I feel like he would be huge for that team.
Sure.
I have to agree. I have no idea what the Dolphins are doing. Why are they saving cap space when they're not using it anyway for anybody on the team? Are you guys
Ryan
rebuilding
Fitzmagic's
again?
beard, man.
Are you guys getting rid of Tua to rebuild again? Like, are you not trying to be a contender? Like, what are you doing? It doesn't make sense. But, you know, I was thinking about the last person who fleeced the Dolphins, and surprisingly, the name Ryan Grigson came to mind. And so when I thought Ryan Grigson,
Devontae Davis trade.
when I thought Ryan Grigson, I thought he was working for the Browns last, and I thought, wow, the Browns would be a really good team. Bolster that defense. But then I also thought Detroit, if Matt Patricia was still there, because he loves his ex-Patriot fellas. But he's not there anymore, so Lions aren't going to be. Not really, but no. We're going to see a lot of players this year getting cut for cap space.
Yep.
On bargain deals you can pick up in the bargain bin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
better than Jadeveon Clowney deals.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a wild couple of weeks. I'm telling you guys to buckle up and get ready, because if you thought Kyle Van Noy was the biggest domino to fall, I'm gonna go out on a limb and tell you he's not the biggest domino that's gonna get cut here in the next 14 days. I'm telling you, just the way it is, the way business is gonna go down. And you know what's funny? The best part, I think, is you're gonna have GMs like Chris Ballard just sitting there salivating at the idea of this, because you know Ballard's going to go pick up a couple of guys. He's going to pick up some A or B level talent guys on C or D level contracts. And that's what gets him going in the morning. So he's excited. We'll see. Another really big free agent, and a free agent that's close to all of our hearts. We're talking about the ghost himself, T.Y. Hilton. And, you know, I mean, I hate to even ask the question, but do we think he's moving on? He tweeted out earlier, no matter the tweet says word for word, no matter where I go, no matter who I pick, the ghost is ready to work. # free agency. I mean, obviously just a tweet like that. One, it's pretty cryptic. It's hard to really read a lot from it, specifics. It doesn't exactly rule a Colts return out. But he is an unrestricted free agent. He had a slow start to last year, but he did finish really strong. Once he was able to play in Houston in his home away from home, I think he kind of was like, oh yeah, I can still do this. He ended the year with 56 catches, 762 yards, and he did have 5 touchdowns. He did express he wants to be a Colt for life, but he's also super excited to be a free agent, and I can't blame him. I mean, he's playing both sides of the field. He's playing he's playing the coin. I mean, and he has every right to. He's done absolutely nothing but put together a tremendous NFL career and one of the most productive, steady guys out there across the league. So the question is, do we think he stays in Indy? And if he doesn't, where do you guys see him ending up? And yet again, especially when you're talking about Indy and Chris Ballard, it's all about, is the money going to add up? Does the money make sense? Because if the money doesn't make sense, y'all know Ballard's not going to do it. He doesn't. There's no way about it. He just won't do it if he doesn't feel like the money's right. And you know what? And on the other side, T.Y.'s got every right to go chase his money if he decides to do that. He has earned absolutely nothing but respect. And if he decides, hey, I just want to go where the dollars are the highest. Whoever offers me the most, I don't care if I'm freezing up in Buffalo or if I'm wherever, I'm going for the dollars. With all that said, damn, I really want to see him come back to Indy to finish what he started, because man, this team is so close. This team is really, really good. And if he can be a part of it, man, that just makes it that much more special if they can really make something happen and go to an AFC title game or beyond. And I mean, I would just love to see number 13 back in the blue with a horseshoe on where he belongs. But how about this, man? If he's not going to go to Indy, let's have some fun. Why not hook him up in Green Bay? Why not set him up with the greatest, the most talented quarterback the football has ever seen in Aaron Rodgers, and pair him alongside Devontae Adams and MVS? Dude, telling me he couldn't run the slot in that offense? Oh, he would absolutely thrive. And then if he's in the slot, you got to move pieces around. What do you have on the outside? You got MVS, the best deep ball receiver in the league last year, averaged nearly 25 yards a catch, which led the league. And you've got Devontae Adams, who had 97 touchdowns last year. I don't know. I might be overshooting it a bit. But if you have Devontae Adams and MVS on the outside and T.Y. Hilton in the slot with Aaron Rodgers throwing you the ball, how's that offense going to put up less than 40 points a game? Just I don't see it. So, I mean, I know I'm a Packers fan. It's fine, but telling you, and I'd buy that jersey so fast. I'd make your head spin. I'd buy that jersey so damn fast.
But you see, Chris, here's the problem. That means that the Packers GM is going to make a move that helps Aaron Rodgers. And that just apparently doesn't happen. They'll draft another quarterback in the first round or something crazy like that, just to spite him. I mean,
hey, T.Y.'s not a first round talent, so they have no problem adding him there because
that's completely fair. You're absolutely right.
Big brain moves.
I mean, for me, I really do hope and pray this man stays a Colt. I still remember I got to have like a small conversation with him when he first got drafted. That first Colts open house they had back in 2012 where they were signing autographs. I got to talk to him and Austin Collie, and that was back when he was just supposed to be the kick returner. He was that late round kick returner at a FIU that no one had ever heard of. Everyone didn't think he was just going to make it. And then, well, we all know the story from there. And I know he doesn't fit that Carson Wentz build of receiver that he likes, that tall, huge, like catch radius guy, but it's T.Y. freaking Hilton. Throw the ball far enough, he'll find a way to get there.
Yeah. And
like, I hate saying this out loud, but a team that makes the most sense is the Buccaneers. Oh, God. So the reason being is if Chris Godwin walks, Bruce Arians gets his guy back in T.Y. Hilton. He's going back to a place he knows very well since he went to FIU. And, oh, yeah, it's a deep ball heavy team with Tom Brady at quarterback. It's a team that's built to win, as they did last year. Yeah, obviously they won the Super Bowl. So I that's the team that makes the most sense to me in my mind, outside of like a Green Bay, is because that Chris Godwin talk conversation's been there. That he wants to stay, but at the same time, he had a big year. Why not go out and get paid? They already have to figure out if they're going to bring back crazy frozen feed AB. So I think T.Y. makes the most sense because Bruce Arians could probably snag him on a deal. And everyone loves Bruce Arians. Anybody who's ever played with him loves Bruce Arians. So it's going to be the move that makes the most sense to me outside of Indianapolis.
Well, I mean, the Cardinals don't like Bruce Arians too much since they fired him, or he resigned.
Anybody who played with.
It's just a weird situation. Bruce Arians should have stayed there. But Arizona would be a fun place for T.Y. too.
True. That would be one good spot if they could get him on a good deal. Mm-hmm. A team that I think that would shell out some money for T.Y. The New England Patriots.
Oh, you can't say that.
I say Reggie Wayne did a practice with them right after he was done with us.
You mean the dark days? You're talking about the dark days.
Get out.
Yes. But no, think about it.
Get out of your own house.
Name a good receiver on the Patriots.
I don't want to.
Julian Edelman?
Garbage. Everybody on that team last year was hot dog water garbage.
I think I had something to
Cam
do
Newton
with
would throw him the ball.
quarterback.
They wouldn't get it. He had to run for 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He had no one to throw to. You get a guy who has hands like Ty, who can run routes for Cam Newton. He doesn't have to run all the time then. His knees are saved. Hooray.
But Cam's
Will
not
Bill
going to be
Belichick pay him the money he wants? Bill Belichick's a cheap guy. He's not going to open up the checkbook. Maybe he might, though, if he needs receivers to bolster that offense to get them back into playoff contention. So my dark horse over here is the Patriots. It's a better idea than the Buccaneers, who already have so many people on offense. Come on. And Green Bay.
Hey, he did preface
Green Bay, they're not going to give him money
Bay.
in Green Bay. They'll get more money from the Colts than Green Bay.
Hey, Green Bay didn't end up paying JJ Watt. They could pay Ty.
We didn't pay JJ Watt either, so we got that JJ Watt money.
The Packers
We do have that JJ Watt money.
The Packers still haven't signed their starting center yet.
Yeah, so why would you want to pay
they still have to pay him.
offense? It's going to get horrible.
Because they'll ask Aaron Rodgers what he wants. And if Rodgers says, go get me T.Y. Hilton, they're probably going to go get him T.Y. Hilton. I mean, maybe, but
the big thing with New
Why
England is
getting-
that
why am
Cam
I getting
Newton's not
attacked
guaranteed.
here?
Like
I
Cam
mean,
Newton's
yeah.
not guaranteed to come back. It's going to be
Right.
Stidham. And why would you go to a team to have no fun? And play with Jarrett Stidham. Why? Why would you do that?
The dollars.
They're not going to pay him.
So, all right. I got to wrangle this in. So our next guy that we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, Ty is obviously going to get us going because he's one of the many hearts and souls of the last decade of these Colts. And I mean, it at least for me personally, it's heartbreaking to even talk about him either, at the end, either being at the end of his career or even possibly going to play with another team. It's a heartbreaking conversation to have because he's a guy that I've rooted for, ever since he stepped onto the field. He's just such a fun, charismatic, fun-loving dude. And it's just, I wish nothing but the best for him. And I hope he comes back to Indy. But the next guy we're going to talk about is here we go. Here's domino number 2 in my eyes of this shocking cap cut, if you will, whatever we want to start calling this rolling segment, because we're going to have a lot of them, I'm telling you guys. But Kyle Rudolph, tight end for the Vikings, cut. And last year didn't put up big numbers, 28 catches, 334 yards, just the 1 touchdown. But I mean, if you ask Vikings fans, I'm sure him and like Stephon Diggs are right there at the top of the list. If you talk about, Vikings, the modern day Vikings that they really, really loved. And he's got, some huge moments the last few years. Obviously the biggest one was that game-winning touchdown against the Saints in the playoffs 2 years ago. So, I mean, he's a fan favorite. And I'm sure they're sad to see him get cut and wishing, nothing but the best. So we're going to take a look just at some possible landing spots. Yet again, another guy that I think could be a very productive player. If he gets in the right situation with the right offense around him, he can kind of flourish. So why not stay? You know what? He's played his whole career in Minnesota. He obviously has no problem with the weather. Why not stay in a cold weather town and just move over to the AFC East and go hook up in Buffalo and give Josh Allen yet another weapon to take that AFC championship level team to potentially that step or beyond next year. I think Stephon Diggs would like that as well, just because that would be a guy to take some pressure off of a guy like Stephon Diggs. You can't, you wouldn't be able to double up on Stephon Diggs nearly as much if you have a healthy, productive Kyle Rudolph to also look out for.
And I mean, the big thing with Kyle Rudolph isn't as much the receiving numbers as much as his importance to that Minnesota run game. He's one of the better run blocking tight ends that you can get. And I think a guy who has history with them, who is also a part of the most electrifying team right now, at least if you're a fan of them, the man who is biting off kneecaps. I'm talking about Motor City Dan Campbell in Detroit. And especially because they're going to play hard-nosed, old-school football, so expect a lot of running with DeAndre Swift. But I definitely think that a team like Detroit would make a lot of sense. And I don't get it. cutting him because without him, I don't think Dalvin Cook rushes for as many yards as he has.
Yeah.
And without him, it's Kirk Cousins throwing the ball, but do they win that game in New Orleans that he did technically kind of push off the guy to get that catch? But we're not going to talk about that.
So I always draft Kyle Rudolph on my fantasy team, and he's always hot garbage. So you know what? If we're going by fantasy, Vikings are the smartest franchise in the world. Get rid of that man. He is dog water. He's garbage. I hate him.
Oh my god.
I'm like, oh, yeah, you know what? Who else is going to catch on that team? Let's go, Kyle Rudolph. Get in there for that tight end position. Nah, he sucks. Sure, you can have a good blocking tight end. If you want the opposite of Kobe Fleener, a man who has hands but can't block. But you know what's great on an offense? A guy who can catch the ball, especially for a QB like Kirk Cousins, who can throw the ball, but he doesn't because he has no one to throw to. So,
whoa. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen.
Two guys to throw to.
Whoa. Dalvin Cook.
I don't count Dalvin Cook as a receiver, though. You need at least 3 good receivers on your team. And then, average ones in the back. They have 2. A rookie, well, now a second-year player, and then a player that costs you, what's his deal? Like $15 million, $20 million?
It's not cheap for Thielen right now. I mean, It's not cheap. He signed a good deal.
But
so they're not going to draft a wide receiver again. So, but if you have an offense that's running, then I guess you do need a blocker. But he's old. We don't want him. Get him out of here.
All right, Mr. Tade. Where's he going to end up then? Who's gonna bite the bullet, I guess, and make the bad decision to sign a guy like Kyle Rudolph?
2-time Pro Bowler, game-winning touchdown catcher.
Green Bay. It's got to be Green Bay. Why? Green Bay had the number 2 offensive line last year, and then what happened?
It was up there.
You got hurt. So if you have a blocker, you're safe. Normal Green Bay. They've played him enough to know if he's good.
That is true.
Okay. So yesterday, I believe, or a couple of days ago, this week sometime, whatever, Big Ben signed a 1-year deal to return to Steel City in Pittsburgh and quarterback that team for another year. It seems like Pittsburgh took a shot on Dwayne Haskins, so he might turn out to be their quarterback in the future, but for now, it's going to have to wait. Ben's numbers last year, 3,083 yards, 33 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. He had a 60.1 QBR, though, so, kind of average, didn't have a great year. But the question is, if he stays healthy, is this team a Super Bowl contender? And I'm just going to keep it short. Couldn't care less. Don't like them. Never liked them. And I don't think they're a contender at all because I think on a good day, they might be the 3rd best team in that division. If you got Baltimore and Cleveland, you're looking up at both of those teams. I don't even know if they find their way into the playoffs next year, to be honest. I know they started 11-0 last year, but that was a lot of the scheduling, I think, lent itself to that. And then, the end of the year, they definitely struggled. They barely beat the Colts. They probably shouldn't have beat the Colts. Colts let them back into that game. And then as soon as they got into play, and then as soon as they got into the playoffs, Cleveland handled business and took care of them. So, I wouldn't be afraid of them if I was an AFC opponent or an opponent of them coming into next year, even with Big Ben coming back. I don't care. I couldn't care. And I don't think they're a contender at all, even with Big Ben, regardless of what moves they may make in free agency too. I think that roster's just got too many holes, and I don't think guys are going to perform at the level they're hoping they will.
And Chris, I did want to quickly correct you really quick. I think you misspoke earlier that the Steelers got a deal for future 3-time MVP, 2-time Super Bowl winner Dwayne Haskins, who is also going to be a future Hall of Famer for that team. It's going to be Big Ben.
He's from the Ohio State. Ooh.
The Ohio State University. I think, yes, you got to pronounce it right. But no, in all seriousness, they got a young quarterback in the wings.
Right.
Who is a talent. He has talent. He's just very raw. So, it's a good move to keep him back there behind a Big Ben. But last year showed off a lot of this team's weaknesses. And between Juju dancing on other teams' logos at midfield for tiki-taki, there's that defense has too many holes and it got exposed. The offense does not have consistent weapons. Well, they have young weapons. Deontay Johnson is a legit threat, but he was really inconsistent and couldn't really stay on the field for the whole year. And I think if they're going to be an actual Super Bowl contender, Big Ben needs another weapon, and that defense has to be shored up. And that's why I think they were pushing so hard for J.J. Watt, because that pass rush was severely lacking outside of Cameron Hayward and T.J. Watt. Outside of that, who else? And they just lost their starting center. The Pouncey brothers retired. So there's a lot of holes that team has to fix. Big Ben doesn't just immediately fix that. It doesn't at all.
You guys aren't wrong, except for one thing you guys keep saying. You guys think Dwayne Haskins is going to be a good QB?
I never said they did. I think they signed him in the hopes that he will be. I'm not saying he will be. I'm saying they brought him on as a chance.
I think they signed him on because they need somebody. They couldn't get Josh Rosen, so they're like, name one young QB we can pick up right now. It's not Trace McSorley. Boom.
Josh Rosen? Ugh.
Yeah, you remember him, right?
He used to be on the Cardinals. We talked about them a lot on the show today.
Yeah. They tweeted that infamous tweet of, "Hey, I know there's a lot of talk out there, but Josh is our guy."
I forgot about that.
So good. They still haven't deleted the tweet.
Josh Rosen has Super Bowl
rings. History. But no, the Steelers, it's coaching. The head coach is fine. Even though, former players have come out and said, we hate Big Ben and we hate Mike Tomlin because of how he coaches the team with Big Ben. So, I don't know. Who do we listen to here? Do we think that there are bad coaches on the team that are ruining the culture and ruining their playoff chances because they always play down to their opponents and then lose easy games they can win? Beats me. I'm not on that team. I don't know for real. But if we ask everybody else who's on the team, that's what they're saying. So I think they kind of hit their hump. They've won a few Super Bowls. They always do well in the regular season. They get to the playoffs. And then they get lucky. So Chris knows they get lucky. Again, Cardinals. Let's throw that name out there.
Why am I getting attacked this episode? Why I feel like it's all just been like, can we push can we push Chris's buttons? How many buttons of Chris's can we push tonight?
I am sorry, Chris.
What we can do.
But no, I think
Santonio Holmes' foot was never down. Santonio Holmes' foot was never down. It was an incomplete pass.
He can go on for hours.
Out of the corner of the end.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. No. His right foot, if you look, left foot was down on the turf. Right foot was like this. Never touched. So, all right. The last guy we're going to talk about, as much as I want to spend a lot of time on him, we're going to kind of just highlight him real quick because he's more than deserving of being talked about. That is the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Alex Smith. He just got cut from the Washington football team. As y'all know, he won the comeback player of the year last year. And that's probably the most lopsided award, I think, in the history of football. I think there was not a more obvious choice. I think there was not a more obvious choice for any award ever than for Alex Smith to win the comeback player of the year last year. That was, if that wasn't unanimous, I don't even know. But, he did express a little frustration with the Washington football team as it appeared they didn't really want him to come back last year. And obviously he was, on a personal journey to get back and prove that not only am I going to recover from this and, walk again and do all of these things, I'm going to get back to an NFL level just as a middle finger to everybody, I think. And, clearly he can still ball. He can still play. The question now, should he sign with a new team or should he hang the cleats up? And in my personal opinion, and again, I'm not in his head. I don't know what he's thinking, and his drive could be a lot different than what I'm taking it for. But in my opinion, you're good, man. Walk away with your head held high, higher than anybody I think who's ever walked off the field. You have done something that nobody nobody can replicate or take away from you or put down. I mean, you have done the absolute unthinkable. You have come back not only from an injury, not only from a long injury. I mean, you came back from the brink of death. I mean, you came back from almost legitimately losing your life to not just survive and not just get back on your feet and not just get back to, where you can do workouts and physical activity. You got back to where you can step on an NFL field and be one of the best 32 human beings on this planet to be an NFL starting quarterback. I mean, you did that. Nobody else did that. Nobody can take that away from you. Please walk away. It would crush me to see you get hurt, to get hit in anything. I mean, you've, in my opinion, like I said, you've proved what you needed to prove. Congrats on it. Walk away with your head held high and go enjoy every day that you've got. Because, I mean, that's as inspirational of a story as I've ever seen. So, I mean, like, much respect to you, Alex, forever. You got way more stones than I'm ever going to have in my life, and I am totally fine with that. But please, just walk away with your head held high, man. You deserve that and so much more. Then you deserve so much more than football I think will ever give you, really, at this point. I think you've done everything you needed to do, man. So congrats. It was so much fun watching you last year. I rooted for you every second of the way coming back. And I'm so thankful that you got through it. And I hope you walk away. I really do.
And I'm going to have to agree with Chris, because I know the Washington football team just added another chip onto Alex Smith's shoulder, who has had such a wild career. And as much as I would love to see anybody give a middle finger to the Washington football team, I'm a father and he has kids, man. Like, you want to see your kids grow up. You don't want to have another injury to that leg and have a complication that results in you not being there anymore. And I would love to see another run, but I don't even think he should even risk a backup deal at this stage and risk having to be put into that position again. I think it's just time to say, all right. And I feel like if Washington didn't cut him, he probably would have retired on his own. And now he has to consider, like, do I just come back with a middle finger in the air, or do I walk out with my head held high? Because you've proven everything you wanted to prove. Your career, you resuscitated your career, and you came back from the brink of death. Like, just call it a day, man. You've had a hell of a career, hopefully a Hall of Fame worthy career. Like, just call it a day.
His leg was black. If anybody saw the pictures of his leg, it was just all gross and disgusting. And then they were going to cut it off. He was going to lose that leg and then possibly die because it just kept getting infected. But came back, played well. You know, if he wants to retire, go ahead. He's proven everything. He was a good quarterback with San Francisco, with Kansas City, and with Washington. They got to the playoffs. If he wants to come back, there are plenty of teams wanting him to be at least a backup for a young QB. I'm looking at Miami. I'm looking at the Colts also. You know, there are plenty of teams that will take him. And I think if he wants to keep going, go for it. You could easily get a contract in this league. Being in his position, how he plays, and how he is in the locker room with the coaching staff. Because everyone says he's a game manager. What do you want a backup to be? First off, you would want Alex Smith as your game managing QB as a backup. Geez. It's a steal. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I see a lot of positions out there for him in the NFL if he wants to keep playing. I mean, they didn't give Colin Kaepernick another chance. They'll certainly give Alex Smith a chance.
So, yeah. All right. So we have a really, I mean, annually, I'll say this, annually, it's a really fun weekend. I got my reservations about how it's going to play out this year. And like we talked about last week, if we even should be doing all the things that we're doing when it comes to the NBA All-Star week. But regardless of all that, it is here. And you know what? We're excited for it. You know, at the end of the day, we're fans of the NBA. It's kind of hard to I don't know. It's just tough to not watch. So we're coming up. We just hit the All-Star break. And we got some headlines obviously going into the All-Star break and coming out for the second half. First thing, down at Atlanta, there was a coaching change. Lloyd Pierce was relieved of duties after losing 12 of the last 15 games. Former Indiana Pacers head coach Nate McMillan is going to serve as the interim head coach. Do we think he's going to turn the Hawks around, or are they now kind of just going to tank and see how high of a draft pick they can get? And I think I don't think they end up necessarily tanking. But I don't think we see them really kind of figure out what was, kind of wrong, if you will. So at the end of the day, I think they'll end up in the lottery, and I'm not sure if McMillan is the answer there in Atlanta. Well, unless their ultimate goal is to, make the playoffs and never win a series, then McMillan's your guy. So congrats, Atlanta.
We're just gonna bring it right back to mid 2010 Atlanta Hawks again, where they just like always mediocrity. And I think they're gonna win some games, but I don't see them making a postseason push. And I don't see them being as bad as the Detroit Pistons were. I don't know if you guys ever remember that year, but I think they're gonna be in lottery contention as much as it sucks. Nate McMillan, good guy, not a good coach. So I don't think he's going to be a guy to turn it around.
Nate McMillan is the most average coach in the NBA.
Burn!
So much buildup.
Shots fired.
They will get the 9th seed. Atlanta will come back, get the 9th seed, get into play in contention. Get to the first round, and actually, no. Yeah, if they get to the first round as the 8th seed, they're gonna lose,
right?
Because then they have to face Brooklyn or the Bucks, so they're screwed. So congrats, you lost your high draft pick this year to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Congrats, you got to the playoffs in the East, where half the teams are either 500 or below.
Welcome to the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
You made it to the playoffs. You sacrificed your high draft pick to make it to the first round of the playoffs and have an early exit.
Yeah. Which, congrats. If that's what they want, that's what they get. I don't think they keep Nate McMillan on longer than, a year, unless they're like, whoa, he's saying all the right things to our GM. This is great. No, he does that to every team. Don't listen to him. It's a lie. This is how he gets starting jobs. The coach gets fired, and they look at the people in the staff, and they're like, you have a really good you were a head coach in Portland.
Ooh. How did that go?
The Seattle team. Wow. Oh, the Pacers, the Hawks. You're on an assistant staff now? Why aren't you a head coach? That's what's going to happen to them. I'm so sorry, Atlanta fans. My bad. We accidentally sent the bad Nathan to you.
Bad Nate.
So let's talk about Nate McMillan's former team. I wish we had good things to say. I really do. But we got to be honest here at the MCT podcast. If there's one thing we're going to bring you guys, it's brutal honesty. And right now the Pacers are not playing their best ball, and that's the best way I can put it. They end up losing I believe it's 5 of their last 6 heading into the All-Star break. Their one win I'll get into it in a second, but their one win was not that all convincing. So the question around the Pacers right now, what is going on? And do we think they can turn it around and possibly even end up just because the East is so wide open and not great? Do we think they find their way into like the top half of the seeds? We're looking at like a 3 or a 4 seed for those struggling Indiana Pacers, who I think are 16-19 going into the break. So 3 games under 500. To put it frankly, I'm not really sure what's going on with them, honestly. It looks like they're missing a piece, which we know they are, but they've been missing a piece for like 3 years now due to injury. So, and before, typically, they have stretches where, you think they can't really compete with the bigger dogs because they're missing a guy or two or just something, and they find a way to kind of like either make it really close and end up losing a close game, or they find a way to win a close game and just give you a dogfight. And they just always seem to give you reasons to believe. But right now, like, I'm just struggling to find reasons to believe. Like, I know Brogdon is playing at an all-star level. Sabonis is obviously playing at an all-star level, and he's a two-time all-star now. Miles Turner is still playing like a defensive player of the year. So, like, there's a lot of good things that a small market franchise like this has going well for them. But there's something not clicking there. And especially we're talking, just like with Nate McMillan, you're talking late game situations or crunch time situations. The team just kind of like, I think if I can narrow it down to one thing, I think what's missing is just that guy, that ice in the veins. Holy crap, we got 30 seconds left. We need a bucket. Who's going to get it? And like right now, I think your best option in those situations is probably Brogdon. And he's great, but I don't think that's his best area. And so, I think if they hopefully, they get healthy by the end of the year, you're talking about bringing on a guy like Karis LeVert. I think he's exactly what this team is missing. Same thing with TJ Warren. Man, if you get one or both of those guys back, I do think they can be one of the top 4 teams in the East if those guys get back and get back to form. And kind of wake everybody else around. Man, I don't think any team in the NBA needs this all-star break more than the Pacers right now. So, but you know what? It's not going to be easy for them. I looked ahead at their schedule. After the all-star break, they start right off with a West Coast road trip. Yay! Where they're going to have to go play in LA against the Lakers, in Phoenix against the Suns, and in Denver against the Nuggets. And then they come home for a one game against Brooklyn. So there's a chance they could lose 4 more. So buckle in, Pacers fans. But I do want to really quick give a shout out to TJ McConnell. Unbelievable performance the other night against Cleveland. That, as I mentioned, the one win of the last 6 games that the Pacers have was against Cleveland. And it took a magical triple-double from TJ McConnell just to win that game. He ended up coming off the bench, scoring 16 points on 8 of 8 shooting. So he didn't miss a shot from the floor. Unreal. Had 13 assists and 10 steals. He had a triple-double with steals. It's just the 10th triple-double ever recorded with steals. Only the 6th to be specifically to have points, assists, and steals. Draymond Green had one a few years ago. He did not get 10 points. He got it with rebounds, assists, and steals. It's just hilarious to think about the fact that if he had found a way to score just 10 points in that game, he would have had a quadruple-double, which, whoa. So, just a truly magical performance for TJ McConnell just to save a one win of these last 6 games. So right now, nothing's really going right for the Pacers. They've got to ship if they're going to come back this season. And the great news is, Karis LeVert, as I mentioned, he is on track to play it sometime this year. So that's going to be amazing. Hopefully that's the shot in the arm that this team needs. And same thing with TJ Warren. Those two are just natural bucket getters. And that's what this team is missing. It's just that guy to go and get a bucket when nothing seems to be working. And so right now it's just hold on, Pacers fans. And hopefully, the cavalry's coming.
And also a really quick shout out to TJ McConnell. He got those 10 steals, that 9 in the first half with 0 fouls. Not a single foul. That's still insane to me that he did that. But I just feel
especially
like
in today's game,
yeah, that's almost impossible to do with the referees calling literally everything. Like, it's just insane. But I feel like the big thing with the Pacers is they're allowing bad teams to stick around. They either start off really slow and have to claw their way back into a game, or they jump out ahead, kind of like what they were doing, like starting to do against Cleveland, and then they just let them back in. Like they pull the foot off the gas for some reason, and just let bad teams back into games that shouldn't have any business being there. There are games where these guys should be winning by 30, and yet it's always those ESPN alerts like, oh hey, close game, like every single like night in night out, which is exciting. Except you're not winning those games.
Right.
And like every single close game they've had, it was the exception of Cleveland the other night, they've lost. Now those teams have all been decent teams, the most notable one being the Celtics. And then Golden State, who still has, Steph fucking Curry. But
I mean, that's just
hey.
It should be 82-0. They've got Steph Curry. I mean,
I swear to God. The big thing that I would say that they have to do, and I know this is asking a lot, the bench needs to be more consistent, especially the Holiday brothers.
Yeah.
And they really need to get on the gas early and then keep the pressure on. Even if the defense kind of falters a little bit, they need to keep the pressure on because they're allowing either, like, the big thing I noticed in that game, Chris, I know you heard me yelling about this, the freaking rebounds from guys who had no business. You had Sabonis and Turner in the paint, and you're letting some 6'1" guard run in there in a close game situation and steal a rebound from you multiple times.
Fun fact, in that Cleveland game where TJ McConnell had 9 first half steals, do you realize as a team, the Pacers had 5 rebounds? As a team, in an entire half of a professional basketball game, they had 5 rebounds. Okay, that's it.
With 2 guys who could easily be up for Defensive Player of the Year. Okay, just one guy. But
just check. That's
like there's no reason with your two of your best players being bigs that you shouldn't be breaking in boards. Especially Sabonis, who naturally plays down in the paint, whereas Turner is more of a spread guy and a chase down block artist. Sabonis is the guy in the paint who needs to be grabbing these boards. And I don't get it. I just don't. They just need to keep that pressure on and crash boards.
I think, it's better for a team to be average in the first half of the season than really good the second half, than really good in the first half and then average in the second half, because then you go into the playoffs with momentum. I think once the Pacers get back, 2 prime scorers in Warren and LeVert, I think they'll be fine. I think second half of the season we'll make adjustments. We'll come back strong. We'll be fine. I mean, we're not going to go for rebounds if we keep going for blocks. So we have to do one thing to sacrifice. So I think, Pacers are going to be fine. We're in the East. It's average. We're good.
So, yeah, I mean, fingers crossed for Pacers fans like us that you're exactly right. Yeah, Karis LeVert and or TJ Warren can be the shot in the arm this team needs to kind of wake up offensively and win some games that they should be winning. But hey, we got the NBA All-Star game to look forward to on Sunday, and I say Sunday because everything is going to be done this year on Sunday. So what exactly are we looking forward to on Sunday, and why is it the dunk contest? So, we've got the team set. We've got all the fun stuff. We're going to kind of move through this a little quickly, as much as, this is going to be a lot of fun to talk about. In my opinion, if you look at the draft and how it all, if you look at how the draft shook out, one thing stood out to me a lot, and that was very simply just the fact that it's absolute blasphemy that the 2 All-Stars from the best team in the league were selected last. And then not only that, we had the salt in the wound that was LeBron's little backhanded comment of, oh, well, we didn't pick anybody. We didn't pick the Jazz players because nobody plays with them in video games. Okay, well, this isn't a video game. You're drafting talented all-stars, the best of the best. And guess what? I don't care if it makes you feel bad that they're a better team than you this year, because they are. But guess what? You need to hurry. You need to wake up and grow up and pick better players, pick the best players. There was no reason that Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell should have gone last, especially as much Pacers fans as we all are. It was hilarious to listen to Bron say, I need size, so I'm going to go with Sabonis, when 7-foot Rudy Gobert is sitting there ready to be drafted. It was ridiculous. I honestly hope Donovan Mitchell comes out and wins the All-Star MVP, just as a big middle finger to both teams. But, as excited as I am to see yet another Pacer in Cassius Stanley enter into the dunk contest, we've had Glenn Robinson III, who won. PG went there, if you all remember, not once but twice he went to the dunk contest. Gerald Green recently went to the dunk contest when he was a Pacer. Those are just to name a few that we've had. I actually think I'm more excited to watch Sabonis try and win that skills challenge now. He was in the finals last year, almost won it. and was beat out. I don't remember actually who won. I'm not going to lie. I feel a little bad. But I hope he wins it this year. That would be super cool. So we'll go through all these, and then actually we're going to predict the winner of all of these contests. So I'm good. I'm done.
Well, I'm going to have to really quickly just iron out Chris's statements here. The two players from the best team in the NBA pick last. Rudy Gobert, I would have understood a little bit. You know, the guy who touched all the microphones. Donovan Mitchell makes zero sense to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still upset because, Rudy Gobert got picked after Nikola Vucevic. Really? Like, it just, I don't get it. Now, me personally, I'm going to be honest and blunt. I'm probably going to watch up until after the dunk contest. And unless the game is super interesting, I'm gone. All-star games are all-star games. It's the same thing every year. It's super high point totals. It's just arcade basketball, which can be fun. It can also be a little boring from time to time, especially as a competitor like myself who wants to see that tough-nosed play. But I'm going to go ahead and just say I'm really excited for the dunk contest. It's my favorite part of All-Star Saturday night on average, is that one night, especially because, I fell in love with it after PG's Dunk in the Dark, where he was robbed of that dunk contest title. Fan voting. I don't give a damn. You're going to tell me that this dude dunked in the dark. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
I'm with you.
But so sometimes, the winners aren't the rightful winners. I still feel like Oladipo and, Aaron Gordon got robbed a few times. But I'm super excited to see Cassius Stanley and Obi Toppin, as an Ohio kid, especially Obi Toppin, go out there and perform in the dunk contest. Yeah, I know it's guys you've never seen before. It's just Wookiees. Who cares about them? It's going to be fun. Both of those guys are super athletic. I actually don't remember who the third guy is in the dunk contest. Chris, help me out here.
His last name is Simmons. That's all I got. I don't remember, but it's okay. All right, Tade, what do you got?
All right, so I want to first say, Team LeBron looks fun. That looks like a team you would pick as your My Player team, just stacked with superstars, not just all stars, superstars. LeBron, Steph Curry, Luka. Who wouldn't want that team? Got Sabonis in there too, but I said superstars here. Better than Kevin Durant's team, who's just okay. Those are stars. They're all stars this year, but I just think they're stars. And I mean, if you just look at the teams, I mean, you can even say if Blake Griffin goes to the Nets, you could say that hey, the 2016. You look at that, you'll be like, wow, all these players going to be on the Nets. That's like an all-star roster. So, I mean, that's what Team Durant looks like right now. It looks like you would build in a regular league, not like in a video game fantasy. So maybe that's what LeBron was talking about. You want to play with the guys you want to play video games with.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he was on to something. I don't know. It felt real. It felt disrespectful. But anyway, okay. So let's go through the events. So we've got the Rising Stars Challenge, Team World versus Team USA. I'm rocking with Team USA. You got LaMelo Ball, Zion, John Morant's in there. I mean, Michael Porter Jr. is going to play too. I mean, you got a lot of talent on that Team USA team. Go USA, easy peasy, easy one there. Let's see. We've got the Skills Challenge. I'm going with my boy Sabonis. He didn't get it done last year. I think he's got revenge on his mind. He's going to come out and get that trophy. 3-point contest. I'm a little sad. I was going to pick Devin Booker, but it was announced just before we started recording tonight that his injured knee is going to keep him out, not only of the 3-point contest, but the All-Star game festivities as a whole. Mike Conley gets his first nod ever and gets to replace him. So that's actually pretty cool. But in the 3-point contest, I'm going to take, you ready for this? I am going to take Zach LaVine from the Chicago Bulls. I think he is going to come out. He's a hot hand, big shooter, big guy. I'm going to take it. I know exactly why Michael's upset at that, but he's going to tell you who won't win here in just a minute. And then the dunk contest, got to roll with the Pacers, got to roll with Cassius Stanley. Came out with a statement earlier and was like, all my dunks have never been done before. Can't wait to showcase him Sunday night. So I'm super excited. We know he's got hops. That's why the Pacers drafted him, is his athleticism. And then the All-Star game, Team LeBron. They're the Toon Squad they're the Toon Squad. He just finished up getting Space Jam 2 out there. So he's rolling right with that Toon Squad right through the All-Star game. So he's going to cruise to an easy win there. All right, next.
So I didn't know that dunks counted for 3 points, and that's why Zach LaVine's going to win the 3-point contest. But
I think he's just a dunker. Come on now.
I mean, come on.
Okay.
Watch the Bulls, Michael.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the Bulls. But
okay. We'll have a show next week. I'll be right here next week.
All right, whatever. So for me, I mean, anybody not picking Team USA right now with that stacked roster they have is absolutely insane. Obviously, I am never going to pick against a Pacers player. So obviously I'm picking Sabonis for the skills competition because I still feel like he should have won last year. And I'm going to obviously take Cassius Stanley for the dunk contest. Even as much as I'm an Ohio kid, my Pacers love will always win out. Screw you. So so he's from Dayton. He went to school an hour away from me. All right, chill. And I'm gonna take. I mean, it's Steph Curry in the 3-point contest. I'm not a Steph Curry fanboy, but he is one of the best shooters of this generation, and that's a contest he absolutely thrives in. So I feel like I have to take the obvious pick here and go with Steph.
Okay. All-Star game, who you got?
Team LeBron.
Team Durant.
Team LeBron. I don't think we're all picking against Team LeBron. Like, I feel like it's a universal thing.
Hey, you gotta say it.
What the hell are you doing, man?
You put it out there. You gotta say it. You gotta put it on the video. All right, Tade.
I'm going to be opposite. I'm going to say Team World because Team USA always disappoints when we all think they're going to win. So Team World.
Yeah, that 92 Dream Team really let us down.
Yeah. I'm picking old man Mike Conley Jr. to win the 3-point contest.
I like it.
Old man got hops. Easy points. No one's out there trying to block him. He's just throw him up there. He knows what to do. Dunk contest. I'm going to have to go with Cassius Stanley on this also.
You got a 1 in 3 chance. Let's go.
Hops. I mean, Obi Toppin's probably going to win. I want Cassius Stanley to win. Let's see if he wins. Pacer players always like to win if they're not all-stars. So,
apparently.
Yeah.
And
skills challenge.
Come on. Smokes.
Do it. Yeah, there it is. Clean sweep. Let's go.
He's all around player. He can do it.
Yeah.
And then obviously Team LeBron because duh.
All right, Tade. Well, it is the best time of the week, and that is Tade time. Tade's bets of the week. Take it away, Mr. Tade.
So if you had tailed me the previous week for the parlay, you are welcome. That parlay won. So I'm 1-1 in my parlays I pick. That parlay was New York Knicks beating the Pacers. The score is under the total points.
Yep.
And then the Memphis Grizzlies win. All three happened. Raise the roof. You're welcome. For my mash this week of the mash, cash, and trash picks, the mash is going to be on March 11th. Wolves versus Pelicans. Pick the Pelicans. Charlotte versus Detroit. Go Charlotte and go under the point total. Those are the 3 picks you parlay together. For my cash, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The refs decided to hate the Utah Jazz for 1 game and decided the Philadelphia 76ers deserved a win over the Jazz. My bad for thinking that game was a lock when the refs obviously were playing for Philly as well. Didn't expect that to happen. My bad. So I'm 1-1 in my cash bets right now. So I like to put this out there. 60% of the time, you're going to see in UFC fights, the over win. So if you see someone who's guaranteed, who they say, hey, he's going to win, he's got the odds on his side, there's a 66% chance that man is going to win. Bet on him. And then also Philly versus Chicago. I'm going to have to go Philly on this as long as everybody's healthy. Those are my 2 cash. Straight bet on them. Go for it. My trash pick, I'm 1-1. Wizards. And then I said betting on Wisconsin was a trash concept because Purdue was the underdog. Stats were all for Wisconsin. What happened? Purdue won. So you're welcome. I told you guys that was a trash pick for anybody to bet on Wisconsin. Bet on Purdue. You're welcome. Garbage team. This week, it's the All-Star game. It's always wild in point totals. No one really cares who wins, who gets MVP in like the actual game. They're playing for fun. But I go with Team LeBron on this one and go over the point total because it always goes over the point total. It's a trash pick because anything can happen, anything can change, all the variables switch. It's like the Wizards. They go 5-5 out of their 10 games 20 games ago. And then they go 7-3 these past 10 games. It's just like, are you good? Are you bad? I need to know, please.
Nobody knows.
And nobody knows. All right. Continue on.
All right. So before we wrap up with our games, our picks of next week, before we head into that, I was thinking we just got March underway and, obviously March Madness coming around. That makes March, just a super special time in sports. Even if you're not a big college basketball fan, like March Madness is still just that. So it really got me thinking. I want to know your guys' favorite sports month of the year. So what month just has the most kind of sports, that's tailored personally for you guys. And you know what? I feel really bad on these because I always feel like I have, I always come up with 2 options, but I'm kind of tied between 2, between March and October. So March, obviously March Madness. I mean, it's just the most wild sporting event every year. I mean, it is just so much fun. It's one of those things where, I'm not going to lie. I don't watch every game of, the NBA playoffs or even the MLB playoffs, but man, you can't stop me from tuning into a random March Madness game. I don't care if it's a 1 versus 16 or, an 8 and a 9, whatever it is. I throw it on, got to throw it on. And that's the one time you'll see me with 4 or 5 screens going and, my phone's going and I've got my paper brackets that I'm following up on. And it's such a consuming time. And so it's so much fun. But also in March, man, you've got baseball really getting underway. Spring training is usually up and running by that time after a long, cold off season. Baseball comes back and, football is getting into their draft prep and free agency is rolling and the NBA is in full swing. And usually about this time in March, you're hitting the All-Star break. So you're well into halfway through the season there. So you kind of have all of these cogs rolling or already going. It's just a super exciting time of year. Spring kind of, really brings in the new year. And I think that's kind of really how the sports world works too, is March and spring in general brings, new life to a lot of different sports. But you know what? October is just the most jam-packed sports month, man. You got the MLB playoffs, which is, in my opinion, unrivaled. Absolutely unrivaled. There is nothing like October magic in baseball. Legends are made then in baseball magic, history and moments and all of this stuff. And it's just, you got to tune in. You never know what you're going to see on a given night, whether it's Jose Bautista's bat flip, and just a crushing bomb, or Kyle Schwarber hitting one, out of PNC Park into the river or off the Budweiser sign. I mean, there are just, all of these things that can possibly happen in the MLB playoffs. But hey, at that time too, the NFL is underway. Their regular seasons has kicked off. The NBA is getting started up in October. They usually start the regular season kind of near the end of the month in October. So, I mean, you've got all 3 of those big sports going, and there's just really no other time like it. But you know what? I think I'm going to give the edge to October just because of baseball. Those MLB playoffs, man, I'm telling you, they're just something else. So I absolutely love October. There's no month like it for me.
So I'm going to have to go a little bit a month in advance here. I'm going to have to go with April. Few reasons why. Basketball playoffs are starting to heat up. You're really kind of getting those teams kind of rounded out. Who's going to be in, who's on a bubble, who's definitely out by now. So that really kind of adds a lot more importance to every single game going on in April. Baseball is back. Like, opening day has happened. Baseball is back. It's in full swing. And for me, it's one of my favorite times as a baseball fan. Hockey playoffs are starting to wrap up, like starting to get rolling, you know. Oh, Jesus. There are dozens of us, Chris. Dozens.
We're in the dozens.
You know, soccer is getting ready to kick off. And then, next year we're going to have the XFL back. It's a loaded month, especially starting next year with the XFL back. That's going to be a ton of fun. So much fun as March Madness is, because to Chris's point, I'm one of those guys who will have like the Salmo cast up on my phone. I definitely abuse. I don't know if you guys have remembered when ESPN had that boss button that, like, when you click it, it would like pull up some emails really quick on your screen.
Oh yeah.
I did that when I was in school all the time. Like, I would have it up on my computer, and my team would come walking around and immediately like click on that and show like some emails, and I'd pop it over to a work assignment. And
I just had multiple tabs. I would just have the tab ready.
See, it was just hilarious because I caught her watching the games. That same class I watched it in. And so we all just kind of stopped.
I used to be able to convince college professors to just throw the game on. We would literally pull it on like the projector screen and throw it and just have a chill period and work on stuff and have the game in the background. Anyway.
Especially when Butler was like doing really well, and, you know, it was back-to-back Final Four years. We would stop everything we were doing if Butler was playing. That would be on no matter what. Yeah. We would watch that game. It was awesome. But April it's got the edge for me. Oh yeah, we got NFL off seasons. Like, the free agency is kind of wrapping up. You're shifting into draft mode pretty heavily. So April is just a ton of fun.
I'm gonna have to agree with April. You know, NBA season, everyone's fighting. It's a lot funner to watch games. But most importantly, American soccer, the MLS, starts back up in April. And so you'll love to see the beginning of soccer season because it's warm. I do love me a good snow game, but spring is soccer time. So April, golden.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up with our trademark patented picks of the week. And as I mentioned earlier, Michael is 0-3. I am 1-2. Tade is 1-1-1. So for a total of 2-6-1. So we're going to try to get closer to that 500 record this week. So let's do our best, guys. Here we go. So I'm going to start us off Thursday, right after the All-Star break, March 11th. Stay up late if you're here on the East Coast with us. Stay up late, 10 o'clock tip-off. Portland and those Phoenix Suns. I know we're running long, but I've got to talk about these guys. I have to do it. Can we just talk about these dangerous boys down in the valley for a moment? I mean, heading into the All-Star break right now, they have the second best record in the entire league at 24-11. They're just 2.5 games behind Utah right now. They're on a 4-game winning streak to close out the first half and go into the All-Star break. And to keep maintaining that second seed out west, they're a game ahead of the Lakers right now, who are the 3 seed. I'm telling you guys, keep sleeping on Phoenix if you want, but they're legit. They're for real. That offense is going to go toe-to-toe with just about anybody in the league right now. I mean, they've got, like I said, Devin Booker, CP3, DeAndre Ayton. I mean, what more do you need? But they've got it. They've got Jay Crowder. They've got extra pieces all over the place. They have bought into whatever system is down there. I don't know if they got bottles of Michael's secret stuff. More Space Jam references for you guys today. I'm on it. But these guys are absolutely legit. They are a serious Western Conference threat. So do not overlook them. But hey, let's not count out Portland either. They're coming into the break on a nice 3-game win streak of their own, and they've got star power, of course. It's Dame time all the time. Do you guys realize he is averaging just a tick under 30 points a game to go along with over 4 rebounds and 8 assists a game as well? I mean, he's putting up great numbers. And then, CJ McCollum, whenever he comes back from his injury, I didn't realize this, but he's putting up almost 27 points a game to pair along with Damian Lillard. But he's also adding on 4 rebounds and 5 assists a game. But hey, the final piece there in Portland, I think that's a really big thing, is don't forget about Melo either. And I'm talking about the real Melo, not the rookie over there in Charlotte. Like Melo, who has definitely stepped up in CJ's absence. He's putting up solid numbers now. He's averaging 14 points a game, just over 3 rebounds, and just about an assist and a half a game. But here's the deal. Thursday night, I expect Phoenix to handle business. If they really are the second best team out west, they should be able to handle Portland at home. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm looking at like 135, 123. Phoenix wins.
That's going to actually be a really entertaining game. I'm super excited for that. But I will say, this is releasing on Saturday, and I don't care if you're just even a casual fan. If you're not watching the UFC fights tonight, you are absolutely insane. We have not one, not two, but 3 title fights. And the main card at 10 o'clock starts with the number 2 contender going up against the number 4 contender. That's a guy who would normally highlight an event. And it's just going to be a ton of fun. Now, obviously, I'm not going to pick through every fight because that'd be absolutely ridiculous. And I'm not just going to pick one either because I want to give myself a fair chance of getting a win. So I'm going to pick the 3 title fights. And if I win 2 out of 3 of those, I'm going to consider it a dub. Does that sound good to everybody? 2 out of 3?
Fine. I'll give you that.
Majority clutch or kick, all 3.
Oh,
clutch or kick. Clutch or kick. Clutch or kick. You got to go. If you're going to pick 3, you got to go 3 for 3. Now, if you only want to pick 1, then that's fine.
No, got to do all 3.
Okay. Then you got to go 3 for 3. 3 for 3 for 1.
I think Peter Yan is going to retain his title via finish. He is a knockout heavy guy. He's only lost 1 fight. I think he's going to retain his title. Then I think Megan Anderson is going to upset the reigning champion, whose name I did not write down for some reason that I'm going to pull up really quick. But I think that's going to be a fight that's going to go to the finish line. I don't see that fight being like a knockout or a submission. If it does go to the ground, I would be concerned about, but I just see Megan Anderson coming out on top this time around. And then the fight that really has me excited, and I talked about it a few episodes ago, is Israel Adesanya going up against Jan Blachowicz. And it's a guy who's going up a weight class to fight this guy with Izzy. He's been talking a lot of smack to the former champion. Now he moved up a weight class with John Bone Jones. But this Izzy weighed in 5 pounds less, which in UFC, that's not a small amount of weight. That's a ton of weight. And he's still one of the favorites to win that fight. I want to see it happen. I want to see an absolute war because I love those. I don't know why. I love them. But I do think Izzy comes in, and not only does he win, I think he's going to win via knockout and really send a message to the whole light heavyweight division that even though he's going to come in lighter, he's going to knock you the hell out if you let him. And he's going to do it with a little bit of flair with his Deadpool and Naruto tattoos. Like, the man's a legend, absolute legend.
Mine will venture over into soccer for the Champions League round of 16. Juventus versus FC Porto. So an Italian team versus a Portuguese team. It's on 3/9 at 3 p.m. So Juventus right now didn't win their first leg of the match. So they lost 2-1. So FC Porto is up by aggregate. So now Juventus has to not only win, but also win by 2 to make sure that they can qualify to the round of 8. So hopefully Juventus wins. They have Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm picking them to win.
Yeah, how are you possibly going to pick against Ronaldo? Like, it's Ronaldo.
Especially in the Champions League, which he is always great in. So it's a hard bet against him and a team he's in the Champions League. Easy.
All right. Well, I got the producer in my ear saying that we gotta wrap this up. So thank you guys once again. I want to thank my 2 co-hosts, Michael Robinson down there, aka Drive True, and Tade Manukian, aka Toddle5 over there to my right. And I just want to thank you guys for making this happen once again. This is super fun. I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and we will see you all next Saturday. Have a great night.